Hey everybody, I'm Justin with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and installing the PowerStop Z36 Extreme Truck and Tow setup for both the front and rear of your 09 to 18 Ram 2500. Now you guys should be checking out this setup for your 4th gen if you're looking for, I would say, an affordable turnkey package to totally update and upgrade both the front and rear brakes on your rig, improving your stopping power and appearance at the same time. So the big feature here is the fact that you're totally replacing or upgrading a majority of your truck's brake system with new or remanufactured components designed specifically for heavy-duty truck use. Now, when installed, these 3 different components will help your truck stop better with or without a trailer setup, along with look sharp behind your favorite set of stock or aftermarket wheels thanks to the cross-drilled and slotted design. Now, of course, we can't forget about these bright red calipers here, really gonna look sharp, kind of the cherry on top, if you will, and it will set the entire kit off. Let's start breaking down some of the individual components of the Z36 kit. And before we do, I just want to quickly point out, yes, you are receiving both the front and rear setup for your HD with this kit. I could only fit the fronts on the table with me here today, guys, but just know you are going to be receiving both. Now, the foundation for the Z36 kit is the company's cross-drilled and slotted G3000 grade cast iron rotors. They have been finished off in this silver zinc coating, and that's just there to help prevent any rust or corrosion on your non-friction surfaces. Now, that slotted and drilled design is done to help prevent excessive brake heat, but also keep that surface clean at all times. And PowerStop claims that surface temps are reduced by nearly 180 degrees with this design in place, which in turn will help reduce brake fade, especially when those rotors are working extra hard to haul down a heavy load or slow the truck down when you're trailering something pretty big. Now, the second part of the equation here with this kit is the Z36 heavy duty carbon ceramic pad. Now, the Z36 is a unique pad, and more specifically compound, built for heavy duty truck and SUV use, and when combined with the rotors that we just talked about, will result in roughly a 20% increase in stopping power according to PowerStop. Now, along with that increase in stopping power, you are getting a little bit more initial bite. That compound, of course, will be a bit more aggressive overall, but will also be better resistant to heat and will be huge again when you're trailering or hauling something pretty heavy. Now, that also goes to say too, guys, that if you do have upgraded wheels and tires on your truck, those 35s or 37s can be a bit heavy, and that is also something to factor in here. Using a pad compound like this, you don't have to be towing or hauling to really benefit from some of the properties that this pad is going to bring to the table. And if you have lifted the truck, added bigger tires, this is certainly going to pay off for you as well. Finally, guys, those Z36 pads that we just talked about are going to be loaded into PowerStop's remanufactured dual piston front calipers. Now, these calipers are going to represent the 3rd and final component here of the kit, and they have been refreshed with all new hardware, pins, bleeders, fresh rubber boots and seals, and are finished off, and my favorite part here, that nice bright red high heat powder coat, and that's going to help these guys look good for many, many years to come. Now, as an added bonus, functionality aside, as I mentioned earlier, it's certainly going to help look good behind your favorite set of stock or aftermarket wheels at the same time. Yes, I know it's truck, it's functional, blah, 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 but we got to keep in mind the appearance part of it too, right? Now, finally, guys, I do want to point out the PowerStop kit is backed by a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty, just in case you run into any issues. Now, your price point for the kit is going to hover right around that $1,500 to $1,600 range here. Certainly going to be a bit higher than your generic parts store replacements, but at the same time, you have to keep in mind, guys, you're not going to be spending nearly as much as if you were going with like a Wilwood or a Brembo kit, if they even make them for the HD Ram, but you're also getting upgraded components at the same time. So definitely factor that in, upgraded components for both the front and rear for that price point. Now, with that being said, if you did want to stick with the PowerStop name, but didn't necessarily need the upgraded rotors, pads, or bright red calipers, you can get a very basic kit, basically PowerStop's OE replacement kit. It's going to give you fresh blanks, fresh pads, and just silver remanufactured calipers for a few $100 less than the Z36 kit that we have here today. So definitely weigh some options if you're shopping for a complete replacement for your HD, because PowerStop does offer a few different flavors, if you will, when it comes time to replacing your setup. All right, guys, last but not least, let's talk install. And yes, even though brake jobs are one of those basics, I would say, of automotive wrenching, there is still a good bit of elbow grease here to get everything uninstalled, the fresh stuff installed, and then obviously you gotta bleed the system as well here since you are replacing your calipers. So this obviously all adds up. Now the site is gonna call this a solid 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, but a few hours to complete from start to finish. Now, to give you a better idea of what you're in for in the shop or garage, let's check out our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need a breaker bar and a pry bar, impact, a ratchet, 13, 14, 15, 17, 21 and 24 millimeter sockets, a 16 millimeter swivel socket, 10 millimeter wrench, 15 millimeter ratcheting wrench, various hammers, flathead screwdriver, caliper hanger tool, brake fluid and brake cleaner, and also not shown here is a bucket or a container, and also a jack and jack stands. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing some brakes on our Ram, so let's get started. So to get started, we have our caliper hanger tool. We're going to hang that right off of our control arm here up front. Then we're going to grab our 16 millimeter swivel socket and our impact and go ahead and remove the 2 caliper bolts so we can get this off and gain access to our pads, our bracket, and our rotor. So we'll go ahead and pop these off. Same thing for the bottom one here. Go ahead and remove our bolts. Then we can go ahead and pull our caliper off. You just want to kind of work it back and forth. It will come off. If it does get stuck, you can go ahead and grab a flathead screwdriver like we may have to do and kind of pry it out. So we'll do that now. So we'll use our flathead, kind of gain a little extra leverage and work back and forth here. So after some working, we'll go ahead and get this off. We'll go ahead and pop our caliper off. Hang that up with our caliper hanger tool here. So now we'll go ahead and remove our pads from our bracket. They'll simply just pop right out like so. So now we can go ahead and get our bracket off, and for that we've got our 24 millimeter socket. We're going to use a breaker bar to get these off because they're usually pretty tight on there. So go ahead and just crack it loose. Same thing for our bottom one. And once you have them loose, you can go ahead and run those out with a normal ratchet and again your 24 mil socket. Go ahead and remove your hardware and then remove your bracket. So if your soft mallet's not working, you can go ahead and grab a ball peen and you want to tap the hat of the rotor just a bit to kind of break that little bit of a seal from the corrosion inside loose. So after some tapping and working, it should come loose like ours is now. Now it's always a good idea when you're doing something like that to grab one of your lug nuts and thread it on a little bit to your stud. That's going to prevent, when it does come loose, the rotor from just flying off and getting damaged or something like that. So now that we have ours loose, we'll go ahead, pull that right off. Now would be a great time to go ahead and clean up the backside of your hub just to prevent further corrosion and your rotor getting stuck anytime in the future. So now we can go ahead and install our new rotor, and for this kit they are labeled. This is the front passenger side, so we'll go ahead and throw this on. Just like so. So now to keep your rotor kind of more even for better install of your pads and everything to kind of make your life easier, usually you have those little set screws. These don't have that, so we're going to use a wheel lug. Go ahead and thread that on. That's going to help keep our rotor in line and straight. So then we can go ahead and install our new bracket. So now we can go ahead and install our new bracket and caliper. We'll go ahead and get this in position. We're going to reuse those factory 24mm bolts. Slide those into place. We'll go ahead and reinstall our hardware. We got our first one started. Go ahead and get our other one on. So now we'll go ahead and tighten these down. So now we'll go ahead and snug these down with our 24mm socket on our ratchet. Do the same thing for the bottom bolt. Now we can go ahead and remove this factory plug from our new caliper. Go ahead and pop that out. So now you notice we still have our factory caliper hanging here. So what we're going to do now is come over to that. Now we're going to crack this line loose. And we do have a bucket here underneath of our caliper to catch the fluid that will come out. You are going to lose a little bit of fluid, but that's okay. So we have it pretty loose. We'll go ahead and finish running out with our 15mm socket. Let that drain. We'll swap our line over to our new caliper. So now we are going to pull our banjo bolt from our block here. Make sure we remove those factory washers, because every time you take them off you should replace them. So pop that one off, and we'll go ahead and add our new ones to our banjo bolt here. Those are provided in your kit. We'll go ahead and add our inside washer. So again, there's one inside and on the top of the block. And we can go ahead and mount that onto our new caliper. You want to get this tightened down as quick as possible to minimize your fluid loss. And we'll grab our 15mm socket or ratchet here. Go ahead and tighten that down. So now we'll go ahead and get our old caliper out of the way. Set that aside. Then we're going to take a little bit of brake clean, spray around our line here, clean up any of that brake fluid. So everything's nice and dry and secure. So now that we have the line secure, we can go ahead and pop the caliper off the bracket. So we'll grab our 17mm socket on our ratchet. Go ahead and pop this off. Make sure you support your caliper while you're doing this. You don't want that falling. And we'll go ahead and place this new caliper in the same spot our old one was, on the caliper hanger. So now we can go ahead and install our new provided slider clips onto our bracket here. So we'll hook these in, pop those on. Just like so. This is going to be a tight fit because these are coated brand new brackets. Go ahead and pop that on. And the little inside ear is going to go obviously inside closest to your rotor, and then the outside bigger hook will be on the outside. Same thing for the back side here. Now we can go ahead and get our pads installed. So we'll slide these in to our bracket here. Again, being brand new and coated, these are going to be a bit of a tight squeeze. Try to line them up best you can first. Get both sides down like so. And you can push them into place just like that. And we'll do the same for the backside pad. Once we have our pads on, we'll go ahead and get our caliper back into place. We'll go ahead and reinstall our caliper slider bolts. And we'll tighten those back down again with our 17mm socket on our ratchet. So now you always want to refer to your manufacturer torque spec for all of your hardware that you're tightening. So once you have everything done for this side, you can go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. And then we're going to go ahead and do the rear brakes, and then once we're done that, we'll show you how to bleed the system. So now we've come to the rear, and we've still got our bucket under here to catch our brake fluid when we crack our line open. And what we're going to do first is grab our 13mm socket on our impact, remove our caliper bolts, and get that off so we can access our pads and everything else. Go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and get those out. Set those aside. We'll get our caliper off. Again, just like the front, we may need to use a screwdriver, but it may come out. So we switched out to a small pry bar just to give us a little more leverage. Got that popped off. We'll go ahead and hook that onto our hanger tool here. Then we can go ahead and get our pads out. Same as the front, they're just gonna pop off like so. So we'll work those out, set those aside. Now we can access our bracket. So now we can go ahead and loosen up our caliper bracket bolts. And for that, again, we're gonna grab our pry bar and our 21mm socket for these. We'll go ahead, pop these loose. Same thing for the bottom one here. Now that we have them loose, we'll go ahead and switch out to our ratchet. Go ahead and run these off. Go ahead and pull our bracket off, set that aside, save your factory hardware. Now for our rear rotor, to get that off, we do have these threaded holes here that we're gonna put bolts through, and that's gonna push our rotor out if we need it. Now we're gonna try first with our dead blow mallet here on the backside just to see if it'll move. Looks like it is. Once it pops over that first little lip there, we should be able to work it off. A few more taps. So we've got that worked out. We'll go ahead, pop that rotor off. So now we can go ahead and get our new rotor installed. And again, just with the front, these are labeled. Slide this over the hub. Make sure that works all the way back over your parking brake shoes. Make sure that's good. Now we'll go ahead and install our new caliper and bracket as one assembly. We're going to reuse those factory 21mm bolts. Get those started. We'll run those back in with our 21mm socket on our ratchet. Now we'll again make sure that plug is removed from our factory brake line bolt position. Then we're going to crack the old line off our original caliper and swap it over to our new one. Now remember, you always want to put the new copper O-rings on each side of the block for your line. So we've got our 15mm socket on our impact. In case this is a little tight, we're going to run this off. So just as the front, once you've got those copper washers swapped out for each side of your block, go ahead and install our line banjo bolt onto our new caliper here. We'll go ahead, tighten that down again with our 15mm socket. So now we'll make sure this line is tight with a 15mm ratchet wrench. You can run them in and out with power tools, but you definitely want to make sure you're tightening with hand tools to get that proper feel. Then again, we'll go ahead and grab a little bit of brake clean, spritz that on. line our block here. Now this is doing two things, cleaning off all the excess fluid. It's also going to tell you if you still have a drip of brake fluid or not. You always want to give that a second, make sure it's not dripping any fluid. Now we can go ahead and set our factory caliper aside. Now we'll go ahead and remove our caliper from our bracket using our 14mm socket on our impact. Definitely want to support your caliper as you're doing this. Pull our bolts out. Set those aside. Go ahead and hang that where our factory one was on the hanger. Now we can go ahead and install our new provided clips for our pads. Go ahead and get those into position here. Pop those in. And again, that small ear is going to go to the inside facing the rotor, and the bigger ear is going to go to the outside. Next, we can go ahead and install our new pads. Again, we'll get those lined up here. Pop them into place. Same thing for our inner pad. Pop that on. We can go ahead and get our caliper on. Slide that into position. Put our slider bolts back in. Go ahead and tighten those back down again with our 14mm socket. Now once you have this process complete for this side, you can go ahead and repeat these same steps for the other side, and we'll show you how to bleed your system. So now once you have everything installed, we're going to need to go ahead and bleed our system. Now what we're going to need to do is start at the farthest wheel from our master cylinder, which is located on the driver's side front of our firewall. So naturally we're going to start at the rear passenger side, and then we're going to work our way over to the driver's rear side, and then the front passenger side, and finally the closest wheel to the master cylinder, which would be the front driver's side. So what we're going to do is go ahead in here, come to this bleeder, pull our cover off. Now there's two ways you can do this. Actually there's multiple, but the way we're going to do it is use this vacuum bleeder. Now if you don't have one of these, you can grab a buddy or something to pump the brakes up, and you can crack open your bleeder and do it that way. We're going to go ahead and do it with our vacuum bleeder here. So we're going to stick our end onto our bleeder screw. So we're going to put our wrench on first, which is a 10mm wrench. I like to use line wrenches for these. They just hold on a little bit better. And we'll go ahead and stick our bleeder line on, and we'll let our reservoir hang. Now we do have brake fluid in here that's going to create that vacuum and suction to pull our fluid through. And then we're going to go ahead and hold this and crack our line loose. And then we're just going to pump it until we start to see fluid. So before we get started bleeding our brakes, we're going to come under the hood to our master cylinder, which is located right here. And we're going to remove that top. And we're always going to check our fluid level. Right now it's at a good spot, so we're not going to add any just yet. But as you bleed your brakes, you want to periodically check in and make sure you're not draining all of the brake fluid out of your master cylinder, because that will dry it out and mess up your seals and potentially cause a bigger repair than what you're doing currently. So you want to get your manufacturer recommended brake fluid, make sure you have plenty of that. Leave your master cylinder open, and then we're going to go ahead and start bleeding our system. So we've got our bleeder open, we're still pumping. Now we can see fluid coming out. We're going to make sure that's a nice steady stream. You can see it's kind of got some air pockets still in it. We'll close that back off once we got a nice stream like that. Pop our bleeder line off. Remove our wrench. And put our cover back on our bleeder screw. And then once you have it done for this side, you can repeat the same process for the other three wheels, working your way from farthest to closest to your master cylinder. And remember to check your fluid level periodically in your master and make sure it stays topped off. So now once you have this done for this wheel, you can go ahead and repeat these same steps in your other wheels, working your way from farthest to closest up to your master cylinder. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our PowerStop Z36 Extreme Truck and Tow 8-lug brake rotor pad and caliper kit for the front and rear of your 09 to 18 Ram 2500. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.